I want to talk about where this channel is going. Over the past year or two, I've seen a few comments and heard some feedback that basically comes down to this idea that maybe I've forgotten about the smaller business owner, the person that's just getting started, or the guy who's just trying to get his first few customers. And I understand where that's coming from. If you watched a lot of my recent content, I'm talking a lot more about management, leadership, multiple locations, managers, systems, recruiting, and building companies that can keep operating without the owner being involved in every single decision. That content is different from the videos I made years ago when I was talking a lot more about starting from scratch, getting your first few mowing customers, knocking on doors, pricing your first jobs, buying your first mower and your first weed whacker and blower, surviving your first season, and just trying to figure out how to get the business off the ground. So I understand why someone would look at the channel today and say, this feels like it's for bigger businesses now. Now, there is some truth in that. Over the past 12 to 24 months, I've intentionally made more content for 7-figure business owners. I've made more content for the person who already has crews, office staff, managers, trucks, payroll, a bunch of overhead, complexities already in the business. That person is dealing with a different set of problems than someone who is trying to get their first 50 customers. But that does not mean I've forgotten about the person at the beginning. I've made around 5,000 videos on YouTube between my main channel and Home Service Millionaire. And the majority of those videos were made for the person who is still early, the person trying to get through their first season, the person trying to make their first $1,000, their first $10,000, their first $100,000 in the industry. The person that's still confused, they're undercapitalized, they don't have a lot of cash, they're unsure, and they're still trying to figure out if they can really make this whole business thing work for them and their family. That person has never left my mind. When I first started making content, I really was talking to the 18-year-old version of myself. I was talking to the kid who didn't come from a wealthy family, didn't have investors, didn't have business connections, didn't have some fancy degree, and didn't have a room full of people telling him exactly what to do. I was talking to the version of me who wanted to work, wanted to win, wanted to build something, but I didn't know the playbook. I was dropping out of school, and the thing that was comfortable with to start a lawn care business. That was when I was 18 years old, dropped out of university to start Augusta Lawn Care. And this is still the person that I think about most when I turn on the camera. And when I'm talking to this black sheet of glass, that's who I envision on the other side. The only thing that's changed is now that I'm talking to a slightly different version of myself. Because that was the 18-year-old version of myself, dropping out of medical school and trying to figure out, okay, I'm gonna do this full time. And can I start Augusta Lawn Care? But now I'm also starting to talk more to the 20-year-old version of me who had started to grow and then got caught underneath the dump truck and realized that the business I had built was still way too dependent on me. At that point, I had revenue, but I didn't really have a company. I had a bunch of work, but I didn't have any infrastructure, and I had a bunch of customers, but I didn't have any systems. I had hired people, mostly at the beginning, my friends, and I had employees, but I didn't have enough leadership, my skills, or other managers. And when I was physically out and not able to be there because of the injury by getting underneath the dump truck, the weaknesses in the business became obvious very fast. So when I talk about leadership, management, systems, building websites, having software, recruiting, having multiple locations, I'm still talking to that 20-year-old version of myself. I'm talking that version that had gotten almost $1 million in annual revenue, but had still not yet built something durable. That is why this channel has evolved. And a lot of you have evolved too. Some of you started watching my videos like 5 or 10 years ago. That's when I started making content, over 10 years ago, when you were just mowing lawns by yourself, plugged in with your headphones. But now you have crews, you have office staff, you have managers, you have payroll, and you have more customers, more revenue, more stress, and a lot bigger decisions inside of the business. The problems changed because the businesses that you all have built have grown. And if I kept making only beginner content forever, I would actually be failing the people who grew up with the channel and have been watching for 5 or 10 years. At the same time, if I only talk to the 7-figure business owner, then I'm missing one of the main reasons I started making content in the first place. So where's this channel going? The answer to that is that this channel is really built to show the whole path, starting with nothing, getting your first customers, building your first routes, hiring your first employees, learning how to price correctly, creating systems, but then also developing leaders, opening multiple locations that run without your daily presence and without having to hire unicorns to run the business without you. And eventually building a business that gives you freedom, wealth, and the ability to serve other people at a higher level. That's the full journey. That is what I want Home Service Millionaire to become. And the mission behind it is very simple. I want to help home service business owners get rich. There are a lot of people in America who don't have a great starting point. They don't have a rich uncle. They don't have someone to lend them $1 million. They don't have a lot of venture capital, private equity trying to give them money to get started. They don't have someone that's handing them a perfect opportunity. But they can get a mower. They can knock on doors. They can go buy a weed whacker or a blower like I did when I was 11 years old for under $1,000 from Lowe's. And yes, that mower broke down like 5 times in the first couple years, but we got started. And knocking on doors, and you can just take those simple ingredients and start answering the phone, start showing up on time. You can learn how to price jobs and learn how to sell and learn how to hire and lead other people. And these individuals that are just getting started, they can learn how business works by doing business in the real world. And that is really why I love home services. And for me, that specifically started with lawn care. Lawn care gave me a way to learn business when I didn't have a lot of other advantages. It taught me about sales, operations, pricing, customer service, hiring, leadership, having one-on-one meetings, cash flow, route density, delegation, and ultimately the discipline required to grow a business. It gave me the reps that I needed. And a lot of people look down on home services because the work is physical, because there's a lot of competition, because it doesn't sound so glamorous, or because it doesn't have the same status symbol as software, finance, or legal, or healthcare, or real estate. I see it differently. I think one of the best business educations in America is starting a home service business. You can learn very quickly whether people will pay you for your service because the demand is there. Like, people need our services. You learn very quickly if your pricing is wrong. You can learn very quickly if your employees are not trained. You learn very quickly if your cash flow and your whole business model is broken. You learn very quickly if you're disorganized, and you can fix those things and learn and grow. The market gives you feedback every single day. That is a gift that, if you are willing to learn from it, can do wonders for you and for your life. This is also connected to the mission of Augusta Lawn Care, because from the beginning, the mission has always been to change the level of professionalism in the landscape industry. That matters because the industry has historically had a really bad reputation. Customers have been trained to expect contractors not to answer their phone, not to show up, not to communicate, not to send professional estimates, not to use software or systems, and not to operate like real companies that they interact with throughout their day, otherwise outside of lawn care. And I want to change that. I want the person mowing lawns to be viewed as a professional. I want the landscape business owner to build wealth and legacy. I want the technician to have a real career path inside of the company. I want the customer to experience better service. I want the owner to stop thinking that chaos is just part of the business and just a feature and not a bug of the industry. That mission starts with the person just getting started, but it does not end there. It starts with getting your first customers and doing great work. Then it becomes learning how to price properly, hire better, train people, create systems, build leaders, and create a company that can actually last. That is why I talk to both audiences. The beginner needs hope and a playbook. The growing owner needs systems and leadership. The mature business needs infrastructure and strategic clarity. All those people are on the same path. They're just at different stages. And I've also built my whole business model, would be software or the franchise or the media, around this belief. There are products and services that we sell to businesses that can afford them. Home service web design is $500 a month. Homeworks is around $300 to $500 a month also. Joining the franchise, Augusta Lawn Care, can cost thousands of dollars. Those products are not built for someone who has 0 customers, no revenue, and no cash in the bank. They're built for businesses that are already having momentum. They need better systems. They need better websites, better software, better support, and a better business model. But the reason I can give away so much free content and the courses and the education, free tools and free resources is because there are businesses further along that are able to pay for advanced help. So that's really my whole business model, is the businesses that can afford our paid products allow us to continue serving people who are not yet ready for them. And that's how we can make thousands of videos for free. That's how we can create free courses. That's how we can do this turnaround show where I fly out to help businesses without charging them for any consulting. That's how we can give away tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of books. This is how we change the level of professionalism in the landscaping industry. And I don't sound that to make this sound like a big charity campaign. I'm saying it because I want you to understand the business model and the philosophy behind the content. I want to build products for people who can afford them so we can keep creating resources for the people who cannot afford them yet. And hopefully, some of the people who start with the free resources will grow. And maybe in a year or two, they'll need better software to be able to scale. And maybe in a few years after that, they'll need a better website from Home Service Web Design. And maybe down the road, they'll join Augusta so they can be part of a community and they can scale to multiple locations. Maybe they'll come to an event or they'll buy a book, or maybe they'll never buy anything from me, but they build a better life because they learned something from the content. And I'm okay with that. The mission is still worth it. And that's why today I want to announce I built the Ultimate Starter Pack. This is something I've wanted to do for a very long time, and we've just never had the resources or the tools for it. This is for the person who wants to start a lawn care business, but feels like they don't have the money, the knowledge, or the tools. Maybe they don't have a website. Maybe they don't know how to price their jobs. Maybe they don't have any software. Maybe they don't have a business plan. And all of that just scares them. Building a website, having software, having a business plan is scary. Or maybe they're just too young and they feel like no one's taking them seriously. Or even maybe they're older, but they have a family and they're trying to get away from their 9 to 5 and build this thing on the side. And maybe they feel like they have the work ethic, but they don't know the next step to turn it into a real business. That is exactly who this was built for. The Ultimate Starter Pack gives you 3 things. The first is Instant Mowing Quote. This lets you create a mowing quote form that doesn't need your own website. The form is hosted on our platform, and you can share the link anywhere. On a Facebook group, you can text it to someone. You can also send it as a QR code, like print on your business cards or on a door hanger. You can email it to people. You can post it in a local Facebook group in your community on Nextdoor, or you can use it anywhere where you want to reach customers and you don't even need the website. We have it all hosted for you. The customer just fills out the form, they get a quote for mowing, and they can ask for other add-on services, and you get the client, just like that. Your first 50 customers through the platform are completely free. And that matters for a brand new lawn care business because I believe the first 50 customers can completely change the business. It gives you proof. It gives you revenue. It gives you route density. It gives you confidence, and it gets you to about $5,000 to $10,000 in monthly recurring revenue. And that's what I love about lawn care. It's recurring revenue that gives you the confidence to be able to get started and make it your full-time thing. So that's the first part, is Instant Mowing Quote. The second part of the Ultimate Starter Pack is Homeworks software. Once you start getting leads, you want a professional look so that you can stay organized. Because if you start getting 50 customers and it's all inside your notes app and text threads and emails, it gets messy. You want to start sending estimates, you want to be sending invoices, collecting payments, and you want to be keeping track of all your jobs and all your customers. And you really want to operate like a real business, especially if you get 30, 40, 50 customers. You need to stay organized. And that's the difference between staying at 30 or 40 and getting to 300 or 400, is that ability to stay organized using software. And Homeworks gives you that foundation. For the first 50 contacts, it's free to everyone. And in fact, if you're under 18 years old, we actually extend that all the way to 1,000 contacts for free, and you get access to the upgraded growth version at 0 cost. I'm trying to build this for a way, if you're a 15, 16, 17-year-old guy or gal that wants to work hard, and you might have checked out of the typical traditional path that all of your peers, all of your family, all the people you went to school with are on, and you're like, I just want to work hard and build something on my own, this is for you. You don't have to wait until you're 25 years old to learn sales. After you get a degree and rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt, you don't have to wait until you have some crazy customer service degree or certificate. You do not have to wait until someone gives you permission to learn pricing, discipline, and leadership. A lawn care business can teach you all of that. So the third part of the Ultimate Starter Pack is Landscape Business Course. This is over 20 hours of free training on how to price jobs, market your business, advertise, build route density, run operations, and scale a lawn care company. Now, tools are helpful, but tools without knowledge can still create a mess. And that's why I'm so happy we're able to launch this starter pack, is because we had Landscape Business Course and we had the education side of what I wanted to share. But we never had the tools, the software, we never had the website for you to actually get customers. And that's why all three of these things combined are so powerful. You need the education though. If you underprice, you will work hard and stay broke. And I see this happen so often the time. People put 3, 4, 5 years into a home service business and they wake up on the other side with just more debt and more trucks. And it's not the life they want. And if you chase the wrong jobs, you will stay busy, but you won't be profitable. If you don't learn how to do follow-up phone calls and texting and setting up automations, you will lose customers you could have won otherwise. If you don't organize your routes, you will waste hours every week just driving around with windshield time that costs you money. And if you don't learn the basics, the business will punish you. So the course is really there to give you the playbook. The point of this starter pack is not to make starting a business easy, because starting a business is not easy, and anyone that tells you otherwise is crazy. The point is to remove the early obstacles that stop people before they even begin. If you don't have a website, you can use Instant Mowing Quote. If you don't have any software, you can still look professional using Homeworks. And if you don't know how to price jobs, you can learn from Landscape Business Course. And if you don't know where to start, this gives you the first 3 steps. But nobody can do the work for you. No one can give you the work ethic. Nobody can show you how to follow up and push through the obstacles of starting a business. No one can force you to show up on time for your customers, for your employees, and for the people that depend on you. No one can make you do good work when it's hot outside, when it's cold, when it's raining, when you're tired, and when customers get difficult, they leave bad reviews, or even those first few weeks when it's slower than you expected and you just got started. That part is on you. And honestly, that is why I still believe in this industry. I don't care about AI. I don't care about what people say about lawn care or about home services. I believe in this industry because home services reward people who are willing to do the unglamorous work consistently. They reward the person who answers when others don't. They reward the person who shows up when others make excuses. They reward the person who keeps improving when others blame the market. So where is this Home Service Millionaire channel going? It's going to go deeper into building the full journey of building a home service business, past 7 figures, multiple 7 figures. There will still be content for the person getting started. There'll still be content for the solo operator. There'll still be content for the person trying to get their first 50 customers. There will also be a lot more content for the owner trying to break through 7 figures, hire leaders, open up more locations, build systems, and create a company that does not depend on them every hour of the day. Because I believe the goal is not just to start. The goal is to build something that creates wealth. The goal is to build something that serves customer at a higher level. The goal is to build something that gives employees a real career path. The goal is to build something that changes your entire family tree. The goal is to build something that raises the standard of the industry. And that is the mission. So if you're just getting started, I haven't forgot about you. In many ways, I'm talking to you every single time I make a video. I'm talking to the version of myself that was lost and needed someone to give him the playbook. I'm also talking to the version of myself that grew way too fast, got hurt, added way too many services, didn't have systems, and realized that revenue alone does not mean you have a real business. Both of those people need help. Both of those stages matter. And this channel is going to keep serving both. If you want access to the Ultimate Starter Pack, the link is down in the description. You'll get Instant Mowing Quote, Homework software, and Landscape Business Course. The tools are free. The education is free. The opportunity is real. Now, it comes down to doing the work.